for coming to the live from the bridge Star Ocean Anamnesis Vodcast #2. First one was a lot of fun. Decided we wanted to continue to do this again as well. Got a lot of really great information here for you guys today. But joining me is going to be a couple of the other wonderful streamers within our community here. We have ViviaBolir and we also have Rzesh. So if you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves, and then we'll get this going.
Hi, I'm ViviaBolir. I'm a mainly Star Ocean streamer, and I did FFBE before, and I absolutely love JRPGs, and I love playing these new mobile games that are coming out.
Hey guys, you already know, it's Rzesh, the Defender hater. Self-titled and self-promoted hater of tanks, and just been playing all kinds of mobile games and all kinds of RPGs, and basically it's a video game. I kind of like it, so yeah, just here hanging out and ready to give you guys a great podcast.
Well, before we start too much into this, though, I mean, I think we should probably start it up with I saved my daily poll. So let's just start it out with a little bit of RNG, if that's all right with you guys. I'm gonna need some luck here, though.
See some amazing RNG right here.
They're actually pretty good. I've been very impressed with these free daily polls.
It's like a 5% pull rate.
It's pretty decent. So here we go. Oh, rip. Blue's all right though. Let's see what we get here today. And can we make it viable? All right. Well, we get an Andre.
Rip the dream.
But
I mean, like, at least one more, and then you'll get a limit break crystal.
Yeah, there we go. And also with Andre, though, I mean, he does have a pretty good innate crit with him as well. So, I mean, not bad. I know Andre Corbin actually made him into a decent unit because of the crit rate that we had on him. Alrighty. So we're going to be talking about a couple different things here today. It's all based kind of around resource management, though. So, yeah, I know how to actually not be bad at this game. I think that's kind of the title.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the gist that we're going for is how to be efficient, right? Like how to be efficient with your resources.
Not have to do like 1,000 different runs on one thing to make sure you can get everything that you need without having to waste resources. Make sure that you're using the most out of what you get, farming the correct things, that type of stuff.
You're listening, right, Rzesh? You got a notepad out?
Oh yeah, totally, absolutely. I've got notepad out. I'm documenting this. I'm taking this home. I'm studying for the test. I hope to pass.
It'll be 100 points. You need at least a 95 to pass.
I got this. Our defender is going to be on the test?
Yes, and lots of them. It's like 1/5 of the game.
Okay. All right.
Well, this isn't actually even a game. This just is a test for you, Rzesh. That's why we do these.
Surprise! Podcast #2, ladies and gentlemen. Zesh's test. Where they just pull out a pop quiz and test me everything on the game in front of all of you. God, that would be scary. Let's not do that, actually. That'd be... My anxiety's flaring up right now.
All right, perfect. Now we've done exactly what we needed to do. It's going to be a good cast.
But yeah, no, kind of what Rag said. Like, we were talking about what we wanted to do for the podcast #2, what we would go in the direction. We wanted it to be a little bit more free-flowing. We wanted it to be directed, but also a little bit more loose. And so that's what we're going to try to give to you guys today, all while giving you great tips and tricks in order to maintain your inventory, in order to maintain how many gems you're spending to, actually, run through content, and the best stages to farm weapons, and what are these terms that you keep hearing about transmutation, all that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna go through the gambit today, kind of shoot the shit and figure it out. And I hope you guys enjoy the ride, and it's gonna be great. Not to mention, I'm sure you guys already heard, but we'll start it on the end. We'll probably talk about this a little bit at the end. But we got a new banner coming out, so that's pretty exciting. So we're gonna touch on that near the end of the podcast. But the main focus today is going to be the management of the resources. So buckle up.
And that's actually kind of exciting that we're getting a new banner, because that's even a whole new management piece that we can talk about today too.
How to save those gems to pull for the waifus.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so awesome. All right, we'll save that for later though. But I mean, let's talk first about like what we mean by resources. I mean, there's so many different resources in this game. I think it's kind of important to maybe identify what we're talking about first. Because I mean, gems are kind of a resource. Full is a resource. You know, you need full to pretty much do anything in this game. You know, all the other items that we have. I mean, what do you guys see as resources that we need to be essentially managing, I guess?
I mean, like, I would definitely say the main things that you're going to be managing: weapons, characters, crystal, like LB crystals, full, threads, anything that you use to increase or enhance your weapons and or characters. So those EXP crystals that you get, you're going to get those orbs, the orbs that are like enhancements for our augmentation orbs. And then you've got things like, you want to make sure that you're ready for, you want to have a good collection of different weapons for when you're actually going to be fighting different types of bosses and situational bosses. And that, like, you know, even like looking at your seeds, your berries. No, they're seeds. I keep calling them berries for some odd reason. I don't even know why. But the berries are going to be a big issue for you as well, because you're going to want to continuously use them to level up your character and to maximize what you're going to get from each and every one of your characters and units. Make sure you increase their attack. Don't spend berries or seeds rather on things that you're not going to use. Like, if all of the attack modifier, all the units' abilities are using attack modifier, int is probably something that you don't want to spend a ton of berries on, because not only is it expensive to raise their level, but it's also a waste of a large amount of runs that you're doing to try and get all of those berries collected. And that brings me to one more point, is that you want to make sure that you are utilizing the best ability, utilizing the system to be able to at least increase your full. Because there's a cool little thing, is that every 2,000 full that you gain, you get 30,000 in your as an achievement. So what you can do is you can sell 200,000, you can collect the 30,000 full, and then, well, not collect it, but like put it in your inbox, and then you do that 7 times, and you get a free 200,000 full, and you get an additional 30,000 on top of it, in which you can start again. So, I mean, there's some tips and tricks that you can really use to maximize your resources without having to waste so much time on needless and bad farming techniques.
Yeah, and I mean, I like how you mentioned full as well. I mean, full is just so important. Like, for all the people that say there's literally like nothing else to farm in the game, honestly, like just farming full is going to be the best thing, because you can't do anything without it. I mean, you can't, like, it's absolutely necessary. You know, whereas like in other games that we played, you know, you can just mash a bunch of stuff together. The full is like, it doesn't cost too much gold, but man, when you put like some AP seeds in and drop 500,000 full, I mean, it's pretty brutal.
I'm gonna make a shirt actually that just says "I'm full of full," and I'm just gonna wear it all the time, because that's what you want. That's what you want to try to be. You want to just be like full of stuff. But that's gonna give you everything you need in the game, right? You can just dump your resources. Like, everything you do cost full, and so as long as you are loaded up, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, and I think one of my best things that I would say, you know, for a newer player too, like for resource management, like there's also kind of like the aspect of um, personal management. Like, you may have like, oh my gosh, I love this character. It's, you know, it's the only one I've played, so I'm gonna dump everything into it. But part of resource management is making sure that you're putting them in the correct areas. So, you know, trying out each different unit out, you may have never used a specific type of unit before and may realize that you like another one a little bit better, and now you've wasted all of your limit break materials or whatever else you're gonna do, and now you can't actually rank up either a brand new unit that you just summoned, or, you know, one that you want to experiment with a little bit more. And I think I touched on it a little bit last time as well, is just the benefit of having a multitude of different types of units, because you may have the strongest character that you can share up and it's max limit broken and you've got the best weapon in the world, but then when you're actually doing the solo missions that you have to rely on having some strong AI, you're doing the Maze of Tribulations, and you're kind of stuck with two other people, and you haven't put anything into them. I mean, you haven't really helped yourself. And what are you guys' thoughts on how to manage that process? And is it put one into the character I want, put one away for storage, or what do you guys do?
Honestly, I would say that you want to have one of each unit type.
Except defenders. Mm-hmm. Yep, everything but defenders.
I disagree with that, but you know what? I know your hating ways.
He's defending his stance here.
God, that
Freudian
hurt.
slip
That
much?
hurt.
Hello, Freudian slip.
That hurt. I can't believe I heard you defend your point there.
I defer to you.
Ouch. But I would definitely say that you'd want to have at least one of each worked up, all buried up, everything. Even if they're not optimal, you can always change them out and exchange them. But one of the biggest things is just making sure that you have at least a wider variety of units to choose from and can have multiple team compositions together. So having one of each will at least prepare you for having to throw yourself into say if you were joining up some public games and you notice people started needing healers, then you can easily just switch into that role and be ready with a maxed out one. Now, I'm not saying go in and max out every single unit. I'm just saying make your selections and put the effort into at least one of each area type. And then as you're growing with that character and as you're growing with getting better characters, you're going to be able to increase more of them over time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially what Reg said too, with solo player stuff, a viable comp is not going in with 3 sharpshooters and some of the harder content. You're not just going to go in and blow things away. So you may have, we got a new unit that's coming. We'll talk about later. Another sharpshooter, another ranged unit, and then obviously we have the Maria meta right now. We have the Maria, the gung ho where everyone's invested into her, and so all of a sudden you start to get a little bit hotter content. You're not just going to go in there and blast shit. You're not just going to go in there and take 3 guns and mow down the enemies. You're going to need a comp. You're going to need an attacker. You're going to need a healer, and you're going to need an invoker, and you'll be good to go. So I agree. Just kind of level one of each thing, so you got some coverage. That way you can help out your multiplayer runs. You can help out yourself. So it's a win-win.
So does that mean you're gonna have a level up defender?
I didn't say defend. I don't. Did I? Did I say?
Yeah,
I don't think I did actually.
He insinuated. That's where it's going.
No, just 2 attackers will cover the defender spot.
But I think that there's just a lot within resource management that again is kind of it's a personal choice, and just remember the game is not going anywhere. It's not hey, you know what, this game's only out for 6 months, let's play the crap out of it and just max everything out, and whoever's top and has a gold border and everything wins. The game is meant to be played for a while. It's meant to be something that's going to stay with us for a good long time. So don't rush it. Don't waste all of your precious resources that you have just to rank up your one unit. If you want to be better than everyone, awesome, go whale out on it, do it. But if you want to continue to move forward and have a multitude of good units, especially when new banners are coming out, new units that you haven't seen before are coming out, save your stuff. Be a squirrel. Pack them away.
One thing I'd like to bring up though, and bring that what you're saying about that is saving up and so would you recommend people to do just ace units or non-ace units? What do you think? Because I'm looking at it being working up the ace unit seems like the long-term goal, but then again looking at all of our available units right now, all of them have their weaknesses and require costly enhancements later on. So what do you think about that? I think that's a big point that I kind of want to bring up.
Yeah, I think looking into the future and looking at future banner units and preparing, yourself for those units are definitely a good thing, but it depends on what you're trying to get out of the game, right? Like if you're playing casually and you just want to play because you're a Star Ocean fan, invest in your favorite character, play it to have fun. Like, are you enjoying the game? Do you like using this cute waifu? Do you like using this guy without a shirt because you like the way his nipples look? Who knows? Like, whatever you're trying to get out of the game, play that way. If you're trying to push the hard content, you're trying to get XYZ to the limits, play the game effectively, and how we can do that.
I don't
So
think that's the right kind of hard content we're talking about. Like
the hard content, I see you, baby. So yeah,
But I mean, if we didn't, invest in some of these 4-star units as well, like we never would have found that, hey, there's some good value in the 4-star healers. We never would have found the value in like Shimada. There's so much talk about him in everyone's streams, like how crazy his comps can be. Like, I think that it's fun, and it's something for those people that have said, you know what, I've maxed all my weapons out, I've maxed all my aces out. Like, it's something for them to do and have some fun with. I mean, it's a game that's meant to be fun.
exactly. And everyone has a different level of fun. It's you're playing, like I said, if you're playing casually, that's your fun level. Don't be intimidated by the whales that are going hard. Like, you don't have to be them. And in the same way, if you're a whale and you're having fun, being elite, don't rub that on the lesser people and make them feel inadequate because they haven't dropped the buka cash. So it's whatever you're trying to accomplish, and invest in that. So yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
as long as you're able to complete the content and are able, like, I remember, what was it, week 1? If you didn't come in with a Maria, they would kick you out, even if you had like limit break 6 or 7, which is like really horrible. Like, I remember it was really bad because it was like, it was like almost like Maria snobbery.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think that a lot of people when it's not just in this game, but it's in a lot of games. You find people that make judgments on like, oh, hey, you're not rank like 100. How do you have any say in this game? But if you just did 329 over and over again, spend a whole bunch of gems, you could be ranked like 100 in a day. Versus someone that's maybe like even a rank 30 or something that may have just properly ground out all of the best resources and knows how to play the game correctly. So I think making judgments on like how people play, what the ranks are, where they're at. Everyone has different lives too. Whether you work a lot or you have the entire day and your only thing that you ever do is just play this game. Everyone's going to be at a different level, but it's all just about having fun. Are you enjoying it? And like you said, are you beating the content? Because even with a limited amount of playtime, you can still focus your resources and kind of get where you want to go.
Exactly. And what I think we're trying to accomplish today is whether you are wailing all out and getting everything, or you're, just casually beating the content. I think what we're going to try to cover today is what resources are important. How can we rank them in farming, and how you can efficiently do that. And it goes both ways. You can be spending a bunch of money and still be efficient. You can not be spending a lot of money and still be efficient. So what would you guys think would be like important resources to like harness? Like what do you think you'd go after immediately? Like what are the top tier resources? What's the tier list for resources?
I mean, I'd say LB crystals are going to be your best friend, because those are going to be one of the hardest things to farm up regularly. And like, unless you're spending money on it, you're not going to be getting them as fast, because it's basically, if you think about it, like any dupe past 3. I mean, and 3 stars, if you get past 3 dupes, then you get a small LB crystal. For medium, I mean, if you get medium crystals from getting a 4-star dupe past 5, and you get large ones from basically 5-star units past 10. So I would really focus on, if you can farm them out, make sure that you prioritize them, because they're significant and they help you out immensely as you grow your character base and growing your units. And I feel like they're one of the rarer items to get, as well as like AP seeds. So those are things that I would like. Those would be my 2 top prioritized resources that I would say make sure that you really focus on getting them.
So you'd say limit break crystals and seeds. What about you, Rex?
Honestly, I kind of agree on that. So I'm actually, since there's no script or anything, I'm just dropping down to the bottom bubble here, which is our forming resources. I mean, since we're on the topic, we might as well just go straight to it, as to like what's going to be the best thing to grind. And yeah, limit breaks I think are the best thing. All the rest of the stuff just kind of comes along with your grinding, your farming. So just as the example with this picture that's right here within this random level that I've selected, and I'll just go into a random mission just so you guys can see what I'm talking about as well on the right hand side here. Not in this world though. Not in the starting world. But you're gonna get some weapons, you're gonna get some hammers, you're gonna get your resources to rank up your units, and just looking at things such as your limit break crystals. I mean, it's just finding the right area for the right cost. The one that I put on the screen here, 111, is kind of like the new best place to farm for your LB crystals for value, but it's not going to give you a lot of experience. 329 is still going to give you maybe higher level weapons and more experience, but you get less value for your stamina that you're spending, per run, I guess you could say. But really, I mean, I think the main focus in this game is just either limit breaking your characters or your weapons. So, I mean, anywhere that you're farming, it's usually going to have the both of them. So, it's just making sure that you're farming in the right places for your stamina.
We keep saying limit break too, and again, for the players that are in here, the OGs that have been playing from day one or have just played gotchas all their lives and know what limit breaking is. What we're doing it with our podcast is we want to build from the ground up and then get to the point where we're effectively efficiently playing the game at 100%, and we're start move towards the hardcore. But right now we're building on it. We're laying the groundwork. Vivia, what's a limit break?
A limit break is basically when you by using either dupes or by crystals, you increase the base stats of your units. So basically, what I've noticed is that each one goes anywhere between a 6% to 10% increase in stats. So I mean that's significant, because you're looking at say if you have 1,000 health, you're looking at a growth of anywhere between 600 to 1,000. And that's just a significant growth. You're looking at your attack being raised significantly. And so if you do that 10 times, you're looking at, roughly 70 to 100% growth from your initial state. Like if you look at the screen right now, you have HP at 6934. It's going up about 400%. Your attack is going up from 981 to 1044, almost a full 60%. 1894 to 1998, that's like 60 to 70% right there. So I mean, like, you're making significant gains from one limit break to the next. So that is absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's just out of control how much you can gain from it.
Yeah, one thing to note as well, and I'll point this out just because it confused me and a lot of other people that were coming into the stream as well when we first started playing this, is that it's an either or. It says select one type of limit break material you'd like to use. So, I mean, you can use either the large ones, the medium-sized ones, or the small ones. It doesn't have to be all three of them, because I sat ready to limit break a unit for the longest time without doing it, because I only had the smalls. And I was like, oh my god, this game's going forever. Like, what am I gonna do?
I feel like I was asked that a couple times by people, because I'm like, you only need to use one, and then they're like, oh wait, I've got a ton of limit breaks already done. I'm like, ooh, that's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that this is probably one of the most precious resources to be able to make the most out of, again, your stamina, and again, while you're farming for these, you're farming for your weapons at the same time, for your augmentation materials and stuff like that at the same time. So I mean, honestly, I haven't really found, if you find a place that's going to be farming these limit break materials, you're pretty much just gonna win. I mean, you just need to find what's best for your stamina. I would say that grinding the ones that are maybe a higher stamina at the very beginning, just to get your ranks up enough to where you have more stamina. You may spend a little bit more on your gems for some refills right now, but being able to have more stamina in the future is a solid investment. I mean, I still personally need to go and grind a little bit more as well, just because, again, I'm getting more out of my refills every single time that I'm doing it. So, first and foremost, for time management as well, is making sure that you are that you can grind for a decent amount of time without having to go back. If you haven't actually invested in slots as well, I think that was.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that came from Vivia too. I mean, she said, you need to be able to make sure that you've got enough room so that you can grind for a decent amount of time and not have to say, like, oh, wow, I got 5 weapons. Now I'm full again. I got to go back and sell 5 weapons or merge 5 weapons or, like augment or transmute or whatever you're going to do with them. And then you go out and you grind like 1 or 2 more and then you have to go back again. So, I think it's a solid investment in maybe getting up to like 80 slots or something. 80 to 100 slots, and then ranking, maybe spend some gems or just spend a good amount of time just doing 329 or any other missions that might be able to get your stamina up, because you can play longer every single time, even though it's an initial investment.
Well, one thing I would also recommend is watch out, because hammers do take inventory space too. So as you're transmuting, you don't want to be holding on to too many of those, even though they're limited. So it's like, I'd probably make room for like 5 to 10 of them, and then just keep grinding them up so you can continue your transmutation. But I mean, like, 329 is optimal, actually. I mean, like, for unless you're actually just going for LB crystals, because that's the only place, like, that's going to be a place where you can get 2-star weapons, whereas in the first one, you're only going to get like 1-star weapons. You can also get better hammers, and like, not only are you getting better weapon selections to help out with your transmutations, but the LB crystals, like, are going to be, the LB crystals are going to be everywhere, but like you were saying, like, that rank is just so important, especially beginning it, because you want to have that time to be able to work through it. Like, you want to have that stamina, you want to have that time, and you want to have the ability to continuously go through it. Because if you're having to run back and forth, you're wasting what, a minute, 2 minutes per go. I mean, going from the map to that, and like, so it's just dragging out a process that you can just knock out relatively quickly.
Yeah. Oh, and as a good. Just a clarification on the 111, you can get 2s as well. It's 1s and 2s.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
It's kind of a newer run, so yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, what are your guys' inventory slots at right now? Like, have you upgraded them, and how much did you guys drop into it?
I think I got mine to like 80, 85, something like that.
Okay. Viv?
I'm at 110 right now.
Whoa. Okay, y'all put me to shame. I'm at 75. So
yeah. No.
All right.
Yeah, I'm at 80.
So we're saying, just a recap. So we're saying limit breaks, super important. Putting that, investing in the characters that you like. Covering the gambit, making sure that you have a plethora, which, by the way, my favorite word, plethora. Use it, study it, learn it. Means a variety or assortment of. Thing is amazing. Moxie's number 2, but moving on. So we're going for limit break crystals. We're going for diversity within our cast besides defenders, and we're going for resource management and investing into your stamina and into your inventory space. And right now the game is pooping out gems, guys. Free gems left and right, free to play or whale. Investing into your account via stamina and investing into your account via inventory space. It's going to be a huge payoff, like I said. Lets the game become more enjoyable. Makes it a lot less tedious. I mean, any gacha games can be super grindy. How much more of a grind is it if you have to keep going back and forth between things and screens? You have to do loading. Who knows if your internet's, absolutely garbage. You have to wait for it to load as well and wait for your internet to connect. So just make it easy on yourself. Invest in yourself. I mean, that's a good life lesson too. But during that time, you guys were talking about, weapons and, transmutation. What the hell is that?
So transmutation is bringing weapons from one level and bringing them up to the next level. So going from 1-star to 2-star, which I don't recommend too often because it's more often than not like a waste. But then again, like going from 2-star to 3-star, 3-star to 4-star, 4-star to 5-star, and then if you take 5-star weapons and then like transmute them, you get coins that are for specific weapon types. So as you go along, the weapon type will increase its level. So if you're taking a gun and you're transmuting it, you're going to transmute it to the next level of gun. So you have a random chance of getting a majority. Like I think there's I think most of the weapons you can get up to in the transmutation summons for this moment. Now that will change when you get limited ones, and I believe there was one wonky one that was not included in the pool, which I made sure to note that it's the artifact bow, I believe it is, that's not available in the actual pool. if you transmute it. So that was a weird one for me. But I mean, you can transmute all of these different items and just keep leveling them up. And so they're basically the equivalent of like free 5 stars without having to use any of the gotcha system in the process. And so all you're doing is you're taking your weapons, you're transmuting them up, and they create that random 5 star either gun coin or random 5 star weapon that's coming up. So you take your 4 star gun, you're gonna get a random 5 star gun. And like it costs a lot of resources though. So you need the base weapon and 5 other of the same level, and that one base weapon has to have a max level of 10. You don't want to cap it because that creates a problem of once it caps, you have to once again level it up to the cap to be able to transmute it. So keep it at 10 and make sure that you don't accidentally put duplicates into it so that the cap will mess with your ability to transmute it up. And also make sure that if you're going to cap a weapon, make sure that the weapon is, and say you have like a one weapon with a capped once, or so it's 2 levels in addition to its normal level. So you have a level 12 out of 12. You don't want to feed that into another one. It's not gonna add the cap levels. It's gonna start a new cap. Every single time you feed a duplicate into one weapon, it goes up 2 levels. And that is the only way you can look at it. But for transmutation purposes, the big things to know are just you need to max out the level and you need to have 5 other weapons of the same level to transmute it to the next level.
Yeah, so not necessarily the same weapon type. And I know a lot of people are talking as well about the diversity of your weapons as well. I mean, that's something we were definitely planning on talking about too. Was the importance of different elements. I know electricity, ice. I mean, whatever elemental weapons are extremely important to talk about. But I think one of the I think everything that we're talking about today kind of ties in with one another, and talking about things like resource management, etc., the amount of slots that you actually have. I think that you mentioning that hammers take up your inventory slots as well is really important to be thinking about, because as you grind, you're either going to be expanding your spaces or you're going to be working on weapons, or you're going to be putting them into something. So as you grind with a plan to be able to work towards specific weapons and diversify.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I like
and
plans.
One thing I did see is that somebody said that it is possible to, as long as it's level 10 at the maxed out, you can transmute it up. So that's another thing to watch out for. So you can still transmute it up if it's higher level, like if it's already capped.
Very nice, very nice. So what you're saying? So how often do I sell these items then? Not that often. Then I'm gonna keep them all.
I mean, they're not worth it. They're not worth it in all honesty. If you sell a bunch
you're just
of
not getting that
level
much
1,
full,
it's like
right?
it's like you're not getting enough full to make it absolutely worth it.
It's like a drop in the pool.
Well, I mean, like the thing about it is if you're gonna actually farm that up, you're probably better off just going and farming the ingots themselves, because they're worth significantly more, like significant amounts more. Like if you try to sell 1 star, it's like, what is it, 100 full up to 500 full? That's nothing. That's nothing. It's not worth it. Use that as experience, to be fair. Like just use it as an experience point, or feed it into your 2-star weapons to help level them up.
So how do you gauge the weapons that you have? I mean, let's say, how do I put value? Like, looking at my example here, saying, hey, why wouldn't I want to toss these Rod of the Feathers? I've got enough to be able to throw into my Umbral Blast to just like make it amazing. But what's the value of each individual weapon? How do you differentiate? How do you find that information? How do you know without just knowing and having played it? I don't want to make sure that newer players don't make a poor decision and throw all of their best weapons that they didn't know were their best, into some crappy weapon that really isn't going to matter in the future. How do you prioritize? How do you decide?
If you look at the weapon themselves, I mean, even at its base stats, just looking at the actual weapons and its skill sets, it'll give you an idea of what it's good against and how it's meant to work. Like if you highlight, I think, can you highlight a weapon for me?
Yeah, so looking at Umbral Blast here. with the
I mean,
damage
so
dealt.
you've got Crimson Squall at 20% damage, which is specific to Reimi now and to Maria. So Umbral Blast works for both, and so you're getting a plus 20% attack to a specific unit, which is great. That plus 20% to a single attack is very rarely seen. Plus, you're getting damage dealt plus 15 when the attack hits multiple enemies. So, I mean, like, for a sharpshooter, the gun's phenomenal. And, like, you have those abilities that are very specific to one area. Now, that's great for increasing attack, but then you also, what if you run into an enemy that has a significant weakness or something that you can go against? Do you have the Lemurian wand or the other free wand that we got? The Rod of the Feather. Take a look at the Rod of the Feather.
You'll cite in an accent though. The Rod of the Feather.
The Rod of the Feather.
There we go. That's the way. That's the.
So that's a crush plus 20% damage. You have damage dealt to machines plus 20% and damage dealt plus 15 when attack hits multiple enemies. So basically, you have a plus 20% a machine damage modifier. So when you're facing machines, you kind of want a weapon that's going to increase your attack significantly against them. So when you look at those type of weapons, you're like, well, would I want to give up that weapon if I'm going to see a machine boss coming up? You want to have those. You want to have a variety of weapons just for the fact that, hey, this weapon does have some benefit to it because it's dealing something specifically to one type of enemy. Now, you're not always going to be facing machine damage, which, machine enemies, which means that it has a very situational application. But there's tons of weapons out there that have situational ideas. So when you look at your item, you want to ask yourself, is this going to be good for one set of character? Is it going to increase my power level? And finally, am I going to need to use this against a certain boss? And will this pay off for me? And I think those are the questions that you want to ask yourself before you end up just throwing off the weapons that you have.
I think this all ties into just shows the importance of buying inventory slots, you guys. There's stuff that we're gonna just need to hang on to, and we're gonna want that for one specific fight or one specific instance, and it's going to have its use. So it's you're investing into, different classes, different things that are going to work. You're going to invest into your sharpshooter and your invoker, same way you'd invest into your weapons that you're going to slot onto them. Will this person be good for this event? Will this weapon be good for this event? Will this push them over the cap for that? So just again, brings it back to managing your resources and making sure that you have room to manage your resources. So makes it even that much more important to invest in yourself.
Yeah, and I know we've got a lot of people here that come from other games, a lot of other gacha games, especially like the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, that, it's just like keeping a vanilla sword, like something really basic, maybe an 80 attack power sword, but it has a killer material on it, or a killer stat on it, it's just enormous amounts of damage in difference. You can put it through your unit calculators, and you can look at the benefit of like a 50% killer materia in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is kind of like the same way to translate into this game for those of you adopting or coming from other communities and other games. Is the reason why we keep all of those. And I think that what we've learned in those other games is to never ever miss out on a limited item or weapon that may only come with a specific event, or have a specific mod on it that's maybe very, very unique. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to be doing in this game. I think we probably have the best insight as to what's coming in the future and what we should really be looking out for. But that's going to be kind of my aim, is that if I see something just new or something that's only around for a limited time through an event, I'm going to snap it up, because those abilities you talked about are just paramount.
There we go. No, you definitely don't want to miss out on limited time stuff, for sure. Whenever you see an opportunity to get a free item or farm a free item, you want to snag that up. That's going to be your, key point. Make sure that you're getting that above all, and going from there. Okay, so transitioning into
stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't even, good transition point. Well, I guess kind of limited, but so it's another thing that we'd be managing in resources would be our gems, and there may or may not be something we're going to be spending gems on soon. Do you guys know about this?
Wait, what?
that we'd be spending our gems on? Maybe a poll or a few, or maybe a new banner.
Oh yeah. I heard of an inkling of that happening very soon.
Yeah, so that's another management thing we got going on. I think we can kind of divulge into that now. So we got a new banner coming out tomorrow, guys. And it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be litty titty.
It's gonna be awesome.
And
Awesome.
It's your waifu Reimi coming out. I
it
know how
is-
much
it
you love
is-
your waifus, Rzesh.
Oh
gosh.
Me and Rags alike. We're
Dude,
fighting
I'm-
over her. Me and Rags are gonna
Raimi's
get
amazing.
Wait, you guys like have your own conversations in this one. I'm gone. See ya.
No, we're getting in a fighting ring with Rock'em or Sock'em robots, and if that doesn't work, we're putting on those Sock'em boppers, those little things, and we're punching until one of us is done, and that winner gets Reimi. But Vivia, what are the units that we're gonna be able to pull for?
Well,
We've been getting
based on your excuse me, just based on your YouTube video as well. And did we have anyone in here with a link to the YouTube video, just so you guys can make sure that you're clicking on it? You can kind of follow along with it as well.
Let me see if I do it.
We got it.
Really fast.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so anyone that's actually in Twitch, not on the YouTube video, we will put it in the YouTube video at the link below the YouTube video as well, for any other previous content. So make sure you're looking out for that there. But look in the chat if you're actually on Twitch right now to check out her video there. That's going to go over all the units that she's going to talk about right now.
So I go in more in depth in my video, and I talk about I make comparisons on them based upon their talents, and mainly their talents and their rushes, and the abilities then kind of come into play in another way. So most of my talk about these are going to be based upon the talents, but I'm gonna only just go over a little bit. So we're gonna get 4 new units, 3 aces, 1 non-ace. The aces being our first. Get this, I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Our first ace healer. Wait for it, Millie.
Millie rocket everywhere.
And then we've got Reimi, Roddick, and the non-ace of Claire. So it's gonna be exciting. We're gonna get some amazing units. It's gonna be phenomenal, and I'm kind of hyped about seeing them. So I hope that you guys are as well, because these units are going to be obtainable tomorrow. And honestly, I hate waifu characters in some ways, but I'm gonna go after Reimi because she is just so powerful.
Damn right.
Good choice. Yep.
Powerful.
See, they did it right. They made her waifu and they made her top tier. So win-win. Can't wait.
I mean, you can't lose there. You just can't lose.
Exactly.
It's absolutely it's broken. And I mean, you're definitely gonna have opportunities to get other units. But we get our first ace healer. Our first ace healer. She has a 30% buff to elemental attacks on a with a boss coming up that's weak to lightning elemental. That is insane. That is absolute broken.
Are you plugging polls right here? I mean, are you saying that we should start?
Are we? Yeah, I was gonna just ask both of your opinions. What do you know? Rags, you pulling on this banner?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, obviously it's
Oh,
Reimi.
hell
It's
yeah.
it's from a I loved all the Star Oceans that I've played. I haven't played 5, and so I don't have an opinion on it. And I don't know. There've been different varying opinions on 5, but I mean, 4 was definitely a lot of fun. It was very grindy, but I mean, man, I definitely remember Reimi from the game, and I think that was just seeing her portrayal in this game. I mean, even just matching up the graphic styles from this, I mean, it's almost like they just took her right out of that game, which is just awesome. And I mean, her play style too is just she hits the points that I'm interested in right now within this game. Like, I love healing, I love support in this game. And I mean, I'm loving the sharpshooters too. So I mean, just kind of it's like exactly where I want to be until Ashton comes out, because then I can just kind of merge all my other units, get rid of them, whatever you do, and just keep Ashton.
I mean, I know you're waiting for it, and I mean, honestly, I'm still waiting for Reina too. Sorry, but I'm still waiting for Reina. But we definitely have some better units coming up. But I mean, still, we're getting some much better units in the pool than we had before. Sorry about that, Rzesh.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna ask, are you pulling, Vivia? Are you?
I'm gonna pull. I I'm definitely gonna be pulling. I'm gonna be pulling tomorrow night, and I'm gonna be trying my best to get all like at least like 2 or 3 of the units. But I mean, at this point, I'm probably gonna be pulling a little bit more often than I would say in FFB. And I mean, if I get a Reimi, that'd be great. Honestly, she's the pool
would be
forever.
great. Yes.
Like if I get a Millie, that's great. But I mean, we've got such better units coming up. We've got Reina coming up. We've got other versions of Reimi coming out because Reimi is just waifu. And then like we have some and a lot of the units that are like top tier. We have a lot of collabs that have yet to come out that we really want to wait for.
Okay, so yeah, just full circle, full motherfucking circle. Resource management. How many of our precious gems should we drop into this banner?
Yeah, let's talk about these gacha rates. I mean, I only have two problems with the gacha system right now. I didn't pull Nell, and Ashton's not in the pool yet.
It needs more.
But otherwise, I mean, the rainbow rates have been pretty good. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, at 5%, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, I mean, like if you look at the rates in the gacha, it's 5%, and that's, I mean, like so every other multi's gonna guarantee. I mean, every other multi hypothetically should give you a 5-star. So I mean, like that's definitely a hypothetical. It's like there's no like I mean the math isn't exactly perfect on it, but like hypothetically every other multi, like you don't guarantee me on that. Like I said, the math is just that out of every 20 units, one should be a rainbow. So that's pretty good. So I mean, like if you're looking for, if you're going to actually, if you want all the units, you're gonna have to spend quite a bit. You're probably looking at like easily 80 to 100,000 gems to get guaranteed. Well, I mean even close to guaranteed them. So there's a lot of new units coming out, which is dangerous for us. I think that's really what I would think at this moment.
Yeah, well, I think also, I mean, as we've learned with other games too, like if you're targeting a specific unit, like that's here right now, pull for it probably before the pool gets flooded more. I mean, obviously we're not flooding it with many units, but I mean, it's just something to think about. Yeah, when you're looking at
5 stars in an already pretty full pool is pretty. I mean, like it's gonna be hard to pull them, and at least we get minor rate ups at this moment.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the individual rates too, I think it's really important to understand that, like, even if you have like a 5% of a 5-star, look, there's different percentages for each of the different units as well. I mean, like you have 0.35 percent for Daryl, or like 0.44 for Maria, which is actually kind of cool. Like these units a little bit higher than some of the others as well, but just look at what your percentage is for the character that you're looking to pull, so that you understand what kind of chance you have before you go crazy on it.
All right, so out of a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this banner?
I'd say 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay, right.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, just looking through the abilities and me not knowing exactly what's going to be coming up from the future, looking at what we have right now, I mean, I'd say about a 7. I mean, I think it hits a lot of great points, maybe even up to an 8, just because of how kind of focused, as you said, Vivia, it is on a lot of these bosses that are coming up. Maybe elemental resistances and stuff. So I think that that's important. The status ailment resistances and healings of Reimi as well. I mean, I think that's extremely important, because that's kind of what's killing us in a lot of these
120
tougher
seconds is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. That's probably my biggest draw to her, actually. So yeah, I might
2
even
minutes
see
for
it
all
as
y'all
like
that are really good at math.
I'm not good at math.
I just have the stats kind of memorized right now. It's like they're just in my head, like and it states 120 seconds. So yeah, 2 minutes is 120 seconds.
Awesome. Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
so
great.
So I think that's pretty much covers it, guys. I think this was hopefully this guys helped you guys out. Like I said, we're just gonna keep building upon our podcast each and every time that we do it. We want to just lay the groundwork, though, try to cover things that maybe you didn't know, maybe you already did know, maybe refine it a little bit, let you guys aim and shoot your arrow at something rather than just swinging through the dark and trying to stumble through the game. I know that a lot of you guys have been going hard in this, farming what you can, and we just want to, lighten it up a little bit, make sure that you guys are with us. We'll be doing this every Monday and going hard and coming up with new tips and tricks, as well as getting more in depth. Now that we're laying the foundation, we can still start building the house. So hopefully you guys keep coming along, hanging out with us. We had a great time. Another thing, little housekeeping. What we want to start doing is we want to start involving you guys a little bit more, get you guys involved, have you guys. I know we stream this on Twitch, but we're going to try to not have the Twitch chat be a big influence on the podcast, because we are loading it up on other sources and on other media. But what we want you guys to do is to DM us on Twitch, to DM us on YouTube, to DM us on Twitter, questions that you have regarding the game, regarding units, regarding what we talked about this week, things that you want to see on future podcasts. Just let us know. We're going to take about 3, 4, 5, maybe, we'll find out what number works for us. And we take this time here at the end of the podcast to talk about them and bring you guys in. We'd share the name, we talk about the question, and we answer it. Obviously, we don't have that this week because we just came up with it, but that's what we want to move forward to and get you guys involved. So hopefully this was a great podcast. I think it was. I think we're getting better at this. So hang tight with us, guys. It's gonna keep getting refined and keep getting more spicy. And yeah. So that being said, I'll leave it to Rags and Vivia to close us out.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah, I think this went really smooth. I had a lot of fun. This was awesome. I definitely plan on continuing this. Hopefully everyone out had some fun as well. Vivia, thank you for your sage knowledge in the game as well. We're all loving learning. It's a great community right now as well. And I hope that we continue to share as we go through this. So, anything else that you wanted to add to anyone before we hop off here, Vivian?
No, I just wish you all the best of luck in your pulls tomorrow. And if you do end up pulling, I hope you get the unit that you want.
And happy belated birthday, Vivia.
Oh,
I think
thank you
it's
so
important
much.
that we
Happy
say that on
birthday,
stream
Vivia.
here as well. Everyone in the chat or anyone, just make sure that you give her a big old happy birthday. Maybe pop
Thank
onto
you.
that YouTube video that we linked up and say happy birthday and give it a nice big old like. So thank you again, everyone, for coming to join. As we said, we're going to be doing it the same time every single week, every single Monday. Let us know what kind of content you like. I'm going to put the VOD up on my channel once we're done with this. It'll take me a little bit of time to just get it clipped out, named and everything. And then you guys should really be looking for it on Vivia's YouTube channel. So just look up ViviaBolir. Hopefully I'm saying the name correctly there. If you want to click on that link, make sure that you guys are putting it up there. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on our YouTube and also our Twitch channels if you guys aren't on here as well. If you have any questions that aren't covered within the actual videos themselves, you can hop on in. You can actually join our Discords as well, kind of become a part of the community. We'd love to see a lot more of it. So thank you again, everyone that came to join. We're gonna continue on with the stream here. So